All right, this is the Gus Engeling Wildlife Management Area Youth Spike and Antlerless Hunt for 2023. There was a bunch of people out there. Did not expect to see so many people at orientation. After orientation, we got assigned to unit or compartment 19, which is the one we asked for. I met a guy out on this property a couple of years ago who hunts it all the time. He's always getting on standby out there. And so I texted him when we got drawn for this and said, "Hey man, what should we do?" And he suggested trying to put in for this spot here. We wanted a stand or blind is what we were looking for. A box blind is what we would like to have had, but we got this stand here, and that's one of those quad pods. And it is out in the open with really zero cover at all. Which is not exactly what we were looking for, but it worked out pretty well for us. Trey didn't think we were going to see anything without any cover. He thought, man, we are just out in the open here. We're not going to see anything at all. But that's not how it worked out. We did get rained on. We headed out there. I think we got out there about 3 o'clock. We sat for just a few minutes before it started pouring on us. It rained hard enough that we actually went back to the truck. It stopped raining, so we dried off and came back out here. We sat for about 30 minutes before this buck walks out. Right there at the top of that hill is right at about 100 yards. And we were sitting for about 30 minutes before this buck comes out. And I tapped Trey in the shoulder and said, "Deer, deer." But I immediately knew that it was a buck. Unfortunately, like I said, this is a doe and antlerless, or I'm sorry, spike and antlerless hunt only, so no bucks. I immediately knew we were not going to be able to shoot him, but this I thought was a great opportunity for Trey to get some practice being still and quiet and having deer in front of him without trying to without trying to spook them. This deer came in. It was, I want to say it was about 4 o'clock. It was a little after, or right before 4 o'clock. He came in, started, the first time we saw him was right at 100 yards. He sat around and ate acorns. He did not go to the corn over on that side there. Looked like he was picking acorns off the ground. But he comes in pretty close to us. I'm whispering to Trey, "See, I told you we would see deer, and all you have to do is be quiet and be still." And he was able to do that. And he was able to practice just moving when you need to, when the deer's not looking. I told him, wait till the deer turns around, when his head is down. If you need to make a movement, do it when his head is down. We ranged this after he left, and that is just over 15 yards, between 15 and 16 yards right there. So he actually came in really close to us. He ended up staying in the area that where we could see him for right at about 45 minutes. He goes over to this side and actually eats some corn over on this one, the corn we put out. Right here, I'm telling Trey, hey, now is a good time to practice aiming, practice getting the gun ready. So I'm telling him, hey, the deer's not looking. Switch over, come here and sit in my lap. We figured out that was the best position for him to get a shot. So I say, here, climb up in my lap, practice putting the gun up, practice aiming, putting the crosshairs on him, getting a good feel for the rifle, so that when a doe or a spike comes out, you'll know what to do and you'll have some practice. So we do that here in just a minute. There he is eating that corn that I put out. So here I'm telling Trey, I'm asking him, are you able to see the whole sight picture? Can you see everything? Do you see any black in the scope? Are you able to hold the crosshairs on him? Before we went hunting, we went over where the heart and lungs are and where you want to shoot and all that. This is the first time that Trey was actually able to be the shooter on a hunt. So like I said, that deer hung out for about 45 minutes and then he left. We did not see anything else after he left, but we did have a good time. and enjoyed a beautiful evening. Luckily, it did not rain on us anymore. We actually were expecting it to rain a lot more than it did this day, so we got pretty lucky there. Sunset was 6:38 p.m. We ended up staying. We could have, I think, last shot would have been 7:08. We ended up leaving right at 7, calling it quits. It got pretty dark. Saw this big, beautiful moon on the walk out. Thought that did not bode well for our morning hunt, but it was a beautiful sight. Then we just headed back to the check station to check out for the evening before heading back to camp. You've got to move your washer over to let them know that you are done hunting for the day, and then before you go back out the next morning, you've got to go move your washer here, back over to let everybody know where you're at. Then we headed back to camp for some hot dogs and s'mores. This is the next morning. It did start raining as we're heading to the spot. Unfortunately, it rained pretty hard. So we sat in the truck for a while. We got out there before sun came up, but we sat in the truck for about an hour and a half, 2 hours waiting for the rain to die down. It was raining pretty good. So we headed out there just after sunrise. Got out to the spot. All of the corn that we had put out the day before, which was probably close to 20 pounds that we had put out, all of it was gone that next morning. We sat for about an hour or so before the rain kicked back up and Trey got pretty cold. I think it was down in the low 50s. Of course, we're both wearing shorts. This is the campsite that they have out there, one of them. Just wanted to kind of show that so everyone can see what you're working with if you ever plan on going out there. We did not get a deer on this trip, but we did have a great time. I appreciate everybody watching. Thanks, and see you next time.